welcome back to God, Coffee, and Resilience. I am your host, Reese, and today we have my all time favorite person in the whole wide world. She is a guest here. Her name is the Catherine Reed. And she, she is joining us today as one of our guests, but she is not guest. Me and her are sisters. Hey,
Hi, Boo. How are you? It's so nice to be here. Thank you for having me. This is wonderful.
Yes. Thank you for taking time out your Saturday to come on. I know that we all work hard throughout the week, and when we finally get to the weekend, we just want to rest. So I appreciate your time with me
Anything for
today.
you. Anything for you.
Oh, thank you, Kat. Y'all, believe it or not, me and Kat have not met in person yet.
Mhm.
And she's my all-time favorite person. We met on Instagram and we just been close ever since. So she's one
Yes.
of my people.
Yes. You're stuck with me for life now. You're stuck.
Yep, you're stuck with me too. So,
That's
one
perfect.
of the questions that I
Mm,
always ask, oh, well, before I get into that, the
yeah.
the microphone, like me talking and your response is kind of a lag, so don't worry about it. I think it's just the way the system is. So, I tell everyone that. I think my audience knows now too.
They just expect it. No problem.
Yeah, it's just expected. So I always do an icebreaker. And I
Okay.
know that me and you are medical people. So Kat is a PA. She was working in internal med and psychiatry. And then she has switched over to the education side, right?
Yes, ma'am. I work at the University of Pittsburgh in their Department of Physician Assistant Studies, and they're developing hybrid PA program. I'm their vice chair for
Yes.
equity, inclusion, and community engagement. So, yeah, it's been wonderful.
Yes.
Quite a shift.
Kat's doing big things in her new position, and I'm so happy because she deserves it. So I'm excited to have her on. But one of the main things that medical people drink is coffee, and the name
Mhm.
of the show is God, Coffee, and Resilience. And so I definitely have to ask you, Kat, what is your
Mhm.
favorite caffeinated beverage?
Oh, that is a great question. I need regular coffee with skim milk in the morning.
Uh-huh.
I love a good caramel latte with oat milk. That's like my go-to.
Uh-huh.
If I'm out and about, that's my go-to. Mhm.
What does oat milk taste like? Like, I have never tried oat milk or cashew milk. I've had soy and I have almond.
Soy and almond have more, well, specifically almond has like the nuttier flavor. Oat milk,
Mhm.
I don't notice the flavor profile as much. It's kind of a higher fat content usually than the skim milk that I drink. So I like it because
Uh-huh.
it's a little bit more filling. Um,
Oh,
it sometimes, yeah, it doesn't really have like a strong like coconut flavor or anything like that, just like coconut milk might. But yeah, you should try it. You might like it a lot. It's good.
okay. I need to dib and dab with the milks because I'm just
Mhm.
like, regular milk is starting to get a little boring.
Yeah.
1%, 2% milk, okay. But, I have the occasional almond milk, but I'm ready to venture out. I'm ready. I think so.
I'm ready for you. This is gonna be great. This is going to be a great adventure. I can't wait to hear how it goes.
Yes, I should just like buy each milk and then just pour me a little cup and then just return whichever one I don't want to be that
Yeah.
type of person.
I don't know if they're gonna
Yeah.
take it back, but I mean, I don't love oat milk by itself. I don't like it like
Uh-huh.
in cereal and things, but in coffee, it's good. That's how I prefer
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't like almond milk in cereal. I'm just like, ew. Yeah, usually for my smoothies and everything that I make with with the Ninja
Mhm.
Bullet. So I might try to switch out that for the oat milk and see where we go.
Yeah,
I like that.
that's a good plan. I use it for my protein shakes too, like in the morning if I make a smoothie, and it tends to
Yes.
be okay. Yeah, it doesn't taste weird. Good choice.
Awesome sauce. Well, the next question is, what is three things that would be shocking to most people that they don't know about you or wouldn't guess about you?
Oh man, 3 things. Reese, you should have warned me. Okay, 3 things that people don't know or might not know about me. First thing is that I have pretty significant social anxiety, so I don't love being the center of attention. I don't love presenting, until I get there. I get really, really anxious. That's one
Yeah.
thing. The second thing is similar vein, that imposter syndrome is super real, and even though I have great titles and have done a lot of work, I very much feel like one day somebody's gonna come and say, "You haven't done the work. You're not actually qualified. Everything you're saying is wrong." And it's going to yank out the rug. Don't worry,
Right.
me and my therapist are working on both of those things very, very carefully over the years,
Okay.
which is key. Which is key. A third thing that people probably don't know about me, oh my goodness, is that I really, really love Wendy's. I used to really love Wendy's so much. I would go all the time. My parents used to get me gift cards when I was in college because I went so much. The grilled chicken sandwich there is phenomenal, the best thing they have. So, those are things
What?
most people might not know.
Yes, you shocked me with the last one because I was just mad because yesterday, okay, so I have the Wendy's app on my phone, and every Friday they like McDonald's does free fry Friday, and Wendy's usually do free nuggets. And yesterday it was a sandwich, and I was mad because I wanted the spicy chicken nuggets, and I was mad about that. And then I was like,
Mm.
"Where's my free nugget?" And it just wasn't there.
See, this is why you are my people because you know these things.
And I'm like, I'm here for the free food, and McDonald's got Mariah Carey,
No.
Mariah mix something going on this
Okay.
month. So every month is something free, and I think today is free hotcakes with a
Ooh,
$1 purchase. So,
that sounds like you need coffee and hot
all
cakes. That's what that sounds like to me. Mhm.
yes, yes. You can eat breakfast anytime, especially here in Texas. Their bacon is so thick here. And I was like, I've been missing out all my life on real bacon until I moved here. Like, I really, like, I go to brunch just for the bacon.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. I probably, yeah, I'm not from the South or like, I consider Texas the South. I understand it's not.
Yes,
But I also have not had super thick bacon. Thick cut bacon, like that's not like a
yes.
thing. Ohio and Pennsylvania is
What?
also
You
not a
got to
thing.
come on to Texas. I didn't have it either until I got here in May.
It's time. It's
Got to
time to
come
go.
on
We're
down.
moving to
Come
Texas
on
for the
and
bacon.
see.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes. Oh, yes.
definitely. So, guys, as you can tell, like me and Kat, we're very acquainted. But Kat, I want to ask you, like, take us back, take us to where you grew up, and are you
Sure.
the only child, and all the things.
All the things, sure. So I grew up in Mansfield, Ohio, which is a smaller town in Ohio. It's kind of in
Mhm.
between Cleveland and Columbus. It's on 71, which runs north to south. So I was born and raised there, lived in the same house from the time I was born until I graduated and left. My parents still have a home there. My dad is going to eventually retire. We're pushing for that. And then hopefully they'll move down to Columbus, Ohio, which is where I'm currently located. But I have one sister,
Mhm.
Allison, and she is a social worker in a level one trauma center here in Columbus. I have a brother in
Uh-huh.
law, Justin, who's a police officer. And I have a nephew who's Julian, and he turns 2 in February. And he is the impetus for me moving here and taking a hybrid position so I could move back home. All of the
Uh-huh.
things, the babies.
Oh,
What else? What else do you want? What else? What would you like?
I mean, like, okay, so since we're talking about resilience, I have to
Mm,
ask, has there ever been a time from any category in your life that you just felt like, God, why does this have to happen to me? All the things are going
mm.
on, and I just feel like I have no control in this situation. And kind of what did you do to kind of cheer yourself up, push yourself forward so you could get to the other side of that thing, whatever that situation was?
Sure. So this is a relatively personal thing. I don't think I've ever talked about it anywhere. So just because it's
Uh-oh.
you, this is for you and your people.
Yeah.
um, in high school, my senior year of high school, my senior prom day, my grandmother and great grandmother were in their car and driving, and my grandmother had a seizure and hit her car hit a pole. Both my grandmother and great grandmother died, and they both lived in Mansfield, Ohio. At that time. And so I actually was like the first family member who was on scene after everything had kind of transpired and my family knew what was going on. Super traumatic. I was 18, my sister was 16. And that was a really, really challenging and difficult time for my family, for me. Personally, I was getting ready to go to college. And so there was just so much shift and change in my life. I would say I probably didn't handle it the best way for many years because I'm somebody who wants to take charge and, support my family in whatever way I can, like most of us want to
Right.
do, and not necessarily deal with those emotions. So I compartmentalized for a long time. And then I started going to therapy when I was in college, a couple years after starting college. And that has been life altering for me in many ways because I was able to process some of those emotions and some of the things that I hadn't realized, like my feeling like everyone around me might die at any second, right? That's not
Right.
necessarily normal for humans. But because of loss at a pivotal age, right? Like that was the way
Right.
my brain kind of adjusted from that. And so I would say that therapy is key. Definitely taking the time to tell the loved ones that you have in your life how much they mean to you and spending quality time. It really has shifted what that means for me, and how that has shown up is really me moving home, being intentional about my time with my friends and my family, really carving out time. Some people would say carving out too much time for all these humans and not taking enough for myself. But part of my self care is pouring into other people and being around the people I love, because our time here is finite, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that was just emphasized in that moment. But over the years, that has really been the crux of everything that I do. Spend time here on this planet as
Mm-hmm.
the best way you can with the humans that you love, and ensuring they know that they are loved and they know that they are valued and cherished. So, yeah, that would probably be the biggest, most traumatic experience I've probably had, and the resilience that had to be used to move through all of those things. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Kat, I didn't know that. I'm so, so sorry,
Okay.
love. But you are very strong and you got through it. But you
Yeah.
had to first be vulnerable. And I'm glad that you talked about that. Like you had to find a time where you're like, okay, I think I'm ready to be vulnerable and talk about these things and process these things
Mhm.
and try to get through it. Because what you don't want is for it to start affecting other parts of your life. And it's just a domino effect. I can
Right.
definitely agree with you on that. I don't know if you because I know like not too long ago I was posting on my story my book and you were like, you wrote a book? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not something I tell people, it's just out there. I
I
don't
got this
promote it
book.
enough, it's just out there.
I created this book and got it published, but let's not tell the whole world. I will
Yeah,
be
let's
running from
not
a
tell the
mountaintop
world.
screaming for you. Just let me know when. I got you. Let me know.
Yeah, I'm with that imposter syndrome. Like I'm just like,
Mm,
God told me to write this when I was in PA school and I
mhm,
hesitated and I told him no for a whole year. And then the second year of him nagging me about it, I was just like, okay, I guess I'll start. And I had to stop and start a couple of times
mhm,
throughout the book because I would hit a certain topic like, you know, me and my mom don't have the best relationship, and
mm,
some of the things that she does to this day is just like, "Arr." Well, not to this day. I would definitely say within the last 2 years it got better, but I would definitely say
mhm,
me moving back home for PA school, it was definitely a trigger because I was back in that environment
mhm,
again. Yeah, and my mom was mentally, verbally, and physically abusive. So it was just like, I was right back in all that. But she wasn't then, but it's just sometimes when she'll raise her voice or different things like that, I flinch or be sensitive. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. So I would try to spend as much time away from the house as I possibly could. When I would get out of class in PA school, I would go on campus. And even though I
mhm,
didn't stay in a dorm, I would go to my friend's dorm or sit in the library till 1 o'clock in the morning and then come home when I knew that everybody was asleep. And in
yeah,
that book, it was I don't know. I was being vulnerable in that book, and maybe
mhm,
I after it was out, I was like, no, I think I was being too vulnerable, and then I actually took it down off Amazon for like a month, and I was like, I'm not gonna do this, and the God started dealing with me, and He was like, there's other people that's going through similar situations, and you need to put your book back out, and I was like, okay, this is
mhm,
not about me. This is about helping other people, and I put it back
yeah,
up there, and yeah, I shared that. I shared me being sexually molested by a family member
mhm,
and nobody knew. And when it came out, my mom didn't even know half that stuff, let alone how I viewed her and what I thought about my childhood. And that, I would say, it begun the healing process, but it hasn't gone
mhm,
much further than that, than her
mhm,
acknowledging that and acknowledging the molestation and stuff that I went through. And yeah, it was just a lot that came from that. So I totally
yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
You talk
Oh, I'm
about
so
being
sorry,
vulnerable.
Reese. Yeah, that is like thank you for sharing all of that, right? Both with your readers and with me. I think
Yeah.
it's it's so nice to have someone like you who is able to share that, but I completely
Yes.
understand that feeling of like too much, too much, too much. I don't want everyone to peek
Yeah.
into my life, right? And then wanting to just pull it all back in.
Pull the curtain.
That Yes, right. Pull the curtain, pretend I'm like a perfect figure somewhere else and has no, that would be easier probably, but it's not what people need. And I think that especially working in healthcare and seeing how much people really want to connect and really need to
Right.
understand and humanize the people that are caring for them, and
Right.
just humans in general, we need to understand that everyone has this lived process that they're going through. And of course, they're going to have trauma and crap. But if you don't allow
Right.
them to be human in those spaces, like you're never going to connect with them. And I think that's probably why we get along well is because we understand that and we really want to be humans and be loved by other humans for all of us, right? Not just
Right.
the parts of us that we shine up to like make,
Yeah.
resume builders like that. There's so much more to us than that. And so I very,
Right.
very strongly identify with that. And I am just grateful that you shared. And I will be getting your
Yes.
book, just so you know. So keep it on
Oh,
Amazon, please.
cat.
Take it down.
Okay. Like, take it
Not
down.
today.
Don't. No, no, don't.
I'll be like, all caps texting you. That will be me. Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
Where is
No,
it?
but I will go find it. I will find it.
Yes.
I'll find a resold copy somewhere if you don't sell it to me directly, and they'll get my money. So don't do
No.
that. Mm-mm. No, I
Yes.
I also
Okay.
identify with the idea of like the kind of the voice in the back of your head telling you and leading you to do something, right? And for you it is God,
Mhm.
and for me I just acknowledge a higher power,
Yes.
right, which probably is God in
Yes.
many different forms and visions. But that's literally how the NSBPA was for me, the National Society of Black PAs, because
Uh-huh.
for 2 years during PA school and then for a year after, I just every time I was quiet, right, every time I was sitting still or working out or
Right.
in a shower, it was always in the shower. I'd be like showering because it's the only
Uh-huh.
time you can't do something else, right? That's when your brain starts working in overdrive, at least for me. And
Yes.
this just this thought, like, where's the society? Where are the people? Where are these Black PAs that we know exist, but in small numbers? How do we do this better? How do we create something? And it was so constant. Like I had to eventually listen. But it took look, I was like, I'm not black enough. I don't have enough lived experience.
Oh.
I understand that colorism exists and like I the best representative of this? How can I be the one to do this? Like there was so much, all of that self-doubt happening. And I remember being
Right.
like, okay, I just have to do it. And it was terrifying and
Mhm.
scary, probably much like
Mhm.
writing that book was for you. But at the end of the
Yes.
day, I'll be vulnerable with how it felt for me and how that process worked for me. And I think we're helping folks. I think we're bringing people together to connect them. It looks like it based on the data we have. And that's really all I care about. So, I mean, there's a reason for the little voice and for the persistence of the voice. So, here we are. We've made it.
Yes, that
Or,
reminds me of Sarah Jakes Roberts, aka the
mm,
demon bully. She say, "Do it scared anyway,"
yep,
and I was like,
that's
"Yes,
it.
Sarah." But
Do
yes,
it.
we
Do it
literally have
scared.
to sometimes,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
we never know all the people who are attached to our voice and our decisions and our lives. It could be their salvation. Well, maybe they'll never know God or never knew Black PAs exist or
Mhm.
never knew that you can be a millennial and follow the Lord or, what does it look
Yeah.
like? What does it
Right,
look
and if
like?
we don't
Yeah.
share, we if we don't share, they don't ever feel like they have that community, and that community exists. It's just about ensuring that we're using technology that we have for that purpose to bring people together, because it can be isolating. It can be lots of, like, fear of missing out and feeling like not good enough as
Mhm.
compared to what you see
Mhm.
on Instagram or TikTok or whatever it might be. So it's really
Right.
about being intentional, right? We need to be intentional about using these products for good, and I think that that's what you do with
Right.
your podcast and with all of the things that you do, the mentorship program, all of that, right? But it's
Yeah.
about creating those communities as much as we can, because that's
Yes.
part of the human experience. That's what we want. We crave connection and we crave finding people who are really in our corner. And I think if we can facilitate that, then we're at least doing part of the work, right? And that's really what's
Yes.
important for sure.
Definitely. And you brought up the C word, which is comparison.
Mm,
And Lord, that and imposter syndrome go hand in hand. And comparison is
mm,
the thief of your joy. And I will definitely tell you in the PA community, I think that one of the most difficult things that my mentees kind of struggle with, and I don't know if you've seen this too, but this
mm,
Instagram influencer PA. For PA, when you're in PA school and you take pictures in your little short white coat and you post all the
Mhm.
time about what you're learning and different things like that, and people are just like, I want to become a PA because everybody on my timeline is a PA and they're in their white coat and I want my white coat. And I just have
Right.
to sit some of my mentees down and I'm just like, listen, let's take Instagram away for a second. Would you still want to be
Mhm.
a PA? It's not for the
That's it.
lighthearted. I'm gonna let you know you're
Oh,
gonna work for it.
mm,
It's gonna be plenty
yeah.
of tears and plenty of nights of you staying up. And sometimes you might go into a test and know you're gonna fail because you just don't half understand. I've been there, but it's like if you're only doing it because of Instagram and what you see, then you're not going to make it. That's not enough. Like, what is
Mhm.
your why? How are you going to write your
Mhm.
personal statement with just that?
Right, right. I saw on Instagram somebody that looked like a PA said they were a PA. That's what I wanna be. I'm with you. I
Yeah.
That is definitely one of the downfalls of everyone being able to see things, right? It's a benefit because folks know what a PA is, maybe know somebody that they can communicate with who is in PA school or
Right.
has done the process. So I agree. Like there's some give and take with that because I think most of the pre-PAs that I've had thus far have not shared that with me. That doesn't mean that that's
Mhm.
not why they're doing it, but it does show up
Right.
in things like personal statements, right? Or in how they are interacting with their healthcare providers in order to get those letters of rec, or
Yes.
just they don't have the passion, right? And you have to really want to do something in healthcare, and healthcare is hard. Oh my gosh, it's
Yes.
not like it's been the last 2 years. It's been I was a paramedic first. It's hard. It's been hard. The
Yes.
opioid epidemic, which continues, is also hard. Dealing with overdoses, dealing with mental health crises.
Mhm.
These things continue outside of a pandemic, right? We might have exacerbated a lot of those things and seen some of the
Right.
large fissures in our health system, but those things
Mhm.
exist even without the global pandemic. And so if you're
Right.
only focused on the short white coat or the letters after your name,
Mhm.
I think this probably isn't the profession for you. And I don't mean that
Right.
in a negative way. I just mean like you have to have something outside of the short white coat and the letters at the end of your name at the end of the day when you come home, because at
Mhm.
the end of the day you're coming home with all of the energy and the feelings and emotions from the folks you interact with, some of them who you save, some of them who you don't, some of those who
Right.
are super ungrateful and some who are very grateful. And if you are
Mhm.
not able to acknowledge the fact that you are existing within your passion, existing within something that you really feel like you can make a difference in, then
Right.
you burn out so quickly. And I don't want that for them either, right? I don't want that for anyone. I want you
Mhm.
to find what you're passionate about, find what you're good at, and continue that track so you can make the world a better place. But if it's only for those letters, it's only for that white coat, woof, it's going to be a hard road. It really is. Yeah.
Yes, yes, definitely. And I mean, even though like I knew what I wanted to do, I went, I got it. And it's like even some days I have hard days, Kat. Like I have hard days where like just yesterday I had a parent tell me that I was being unprofessional because the child is 17, so almost not a child, but her child. And I said something about a diagnosis or the potential of a diagnosis, which the child has been very devastated over the possibility. Haven't
Mhm.
even went to go get tested for the diagnosis, and she has just fell down in the dumps and been sad. And so they needed a scapegoat, and so they pointed the finger back at me, even though um, there was an understanding between the parents without the child, and they didn't talk to the child. So I saw the child and told the child, and the child went down. And now they're like, it's your fault. And I'm like, I'll be the bad guy. But it's just like some days like that, you're just like, God, I did everything that I thought I was supposed to do. Maybe I'll just stop telling people, maybe I'll just stop being so honest. And then I'm like, no, a lot of my people that come to see me love that about me, that I will tell them and
Mhm.
not just prescribe medicine and don't tell
Yeah.
them what it's for. So I was just like, I'm sorry, maybe just one every now and then will fall off, and that's okay.
Mhm. It is.
But
And
sometimes
I am, yes. Oh no, I'm sorry. I was just going to say I support you in that because you're never going to be the exact right person for some people, right? As a
Mhm.
provider. And some people just aren't a good
Right.
fit, and that's okay. But you have found your footing with the people who really need to be in your care. And those are the ones that will continue to show back up. And those are the people that you were placed on this earth to serve, right? That's at the end of the day,
Right.
that's how you have to look at it. Cause, and people might just be having really hard conversations. Those parents, right, might really not know how to say those things to their kid. And like,
Right.
yeah, they're going to blame it on you, but they're probably going to be very grateful that the conversation has been started looking back at some
Yes.
point, you know? And so maybe
Mm-hmm.
that was your role in their life, is to really start the conversation and begin to help the child heal, because you can't heal unless you have that diagnosis, because so many people are searching for answers. You don't give a
Mm-hmm.
diagnosis. How are you going to start having the conversations that you need to have to get the help that you need or the resources you need? That's just not
Right.
actually helpful. So we're going to say that you were in the
No.
right place at the right time to give that information. Yeah. And that
Yes.
they, accepted it however they needed to accept it, but that looking back in retrospect, they will probably very much appreciate that this has started. It might be a hard road
And I
ahead, but it was going to be
agree.
hard either way, whether you said it that day or later.
Yes. Yes, whether it was me or somebody else, it was going to be her. At least I got it started. So, hey. And it's hard
Yeah.
trying to find a child psychiatrist. So, good luck. But I will definitely say,
Yeah.
Kat, you mentioned the NSB, and I know that you're on
Mhm.
social media. Don't know if you feel
Mhm.
comfortable giving that out. But if
Mhm.
someone wanted to reach out to you and give you feedback about this episode,
Mhm.
or if they just wanted to like ask you questions because you're a PA or anything, if they just want
Yeah.
to connect with you, where can they find you?
So my personal Instagram is at underscore that girl cat, KAT. They're welcome to add me. It's private, so just add me or send me a message like, hey, this is how I might know you or want to touch base with you. I don't add everybody random
Yes.
in the world because that's why it's not public. But I'm happy to chat with anyone. Um, at the THENSBPA is our the National Society of Black PAs. That's our main handle. Feel free. That one's, I don't think it's private. It might be. But either way, feel free,
Uh-huh.
jump on. We're starting our new mentorship cohort in January. We'll have some more virtual shadowing coming up, student diversity initiatives group. So that meets quarterly. So if you're in PA school, you're one of two, one of the only, whatever it is, of people of color, and
Mhm.
you really want to sit and have conversation with like-minded individuals doing it across the country in programs, let us know. We'll get you looped in there. I'm happy to help. I'm
Awesome.
happy to answer any questions. Yeah, whatever I can do.
Yes. Well, and I guess we have to touch base about that because I'm like, I want to sit in,
Mhm.
I want to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
I'm always
Yeah.
talking. That's how I get in trouble. I'm always talking.
Uh-uh. That's how you look. Reframe that. That's how you got where you were supposed to be.
Yes,
So, all
yes,
right.
you're right, Kat. You're right. And I would definitely say, I always try to ask this question before the last question, but it's cool. What
Mhm.
advice would you have for anybody listening that might be going through a rough time in their life? Maybe they find themselves at a similar place where you found yourself with significant grief and loss, or
Mhm.
maybe they want to seek help, or maybe they want to reach out to people. Maybe families are at a feud and they just
Mhm.
don't know where to start. I mean, what
Mhm.
kind of advice would you give someone that's listening for that?
I would say just to reach out, right? Talk to someone. It doesn't have to be your family if that's really your trigger, right?
Mhm.
Reach out and find someone who you can talk to. If it's, an insurance issue and you're not necessarily sure who you can touch base with, call your insurance company. If you don't have insurance, find a federally qualified health center that has access to that, or a community engagement center that has access to those resources. If it's something more serious than that, of course, calling 911, things like that, and getting yourself checked into a mental health institution, those are always huge. If you have friends, on the other side of that, and it's not super, super invasive in your brain right now, or it's not bad at the moment, feel free to talk to your friends, right? Open up to them, see who sticks around to really have those conversations. Those are the people you want to keep in your life. But I think reaching out to someone, talking to them, and just as a caveat to that, if you don't find the right therapist initially or the right counselor, being unafraid to stop that care and find someone who you do connect with,
Yes.
because it's like trying on jeans, which is my least favorite activity, because you can try on 15 pairs, they're all the same size and not one of them fits the same way. So just think of it that way, right? You're allowed to be active in your care. You're allowed to find someone who listens to you well. And so my suggestion and advice is always going to be seeking help, whether it be professional or your kind of support system in your friends.
Right.
Yeah, that's a big deal for me. And hopefully that's helpful.
Yes. Thanks, Kat. I
Mm,
love that. How you talked about trying on 15 pairs of jeans and none of them fit the same. I always
mm,
tell my clients and people in my life, I always say, you are the patient. You are paying for the services. So you have the right to stop, start care, and move on care.
mhm.
So if they're not doing what you need them to do and you're not seeing progress, then it's a waste of time. It's a waste of money at that point. And I'm happy you put it that way. I like that analogy.
It's all yours. Use it as
I
many
like
times
that.
as you
I'm
need.
going to use it. Thanks, Kat.
Whatever you
Well,
need.
I will definitely say, Kat, thank you so much for coming on the show. And I just admire you. Every
Mm,
time we talk and every time you do a presentation, you always carry yourself so well. And it's funny you say you have social anxiety because you're always so poised and well spoken. And you just look like this is the Catherine Reed, and this is how I'm showing up, and nobody would ever know. So thank you for
I
everything you're
appreciate
doing for the
that.
profession, and thank you for saying yes, whether that be to God or whether it be to the higher voice or the voice in the back of your mind. Just thank you for saying
Mhm.
yes, because of you, we have the NSBPA, and other people who are out there will be able to find you guys, and it's actually a .org, guys. It's a .org, so you can actually go on the website and check it out. It's official and see all the resources that they put up there. It's very, very, very awesome and very, what's the word I'm looking for? Inclusive. Like it includes every state, every type of resource that you can think of, even with loans and different things. So go check out if you're interested in being a PA or you're in PA school and maybe you want to learn about your own resources in your own state. They have it all mapped out there beautifully. So
I
and hit up
appreciate
Kat after this and let her know that she's
you.
awesome.
Yeah. You can, you don't have to. I appreciate you, Reese. This has been lovely. And I appreciate your kind words. I tend to tell people that when I have conversations or have a presentation, I black out because I
No.
mean, I rely on how I feel and I have to be vulnerable, but that doesn't mean I remember what I'm supposed to say. So I
Right.
appreciate you saying that. You have heard me speak, you have seen me speak, we've spoken together. So I appreciate that. And I will let your reflection of me kind of sink in. I have to learn how to say thank
Yes.
you to compliments. I'm learning. I'm going to get better, but I
Yes.
appreciate you and for this experience. This has been wonderful. Everyone, yes, thank you. Thank you, Reese, for creating this
Yes.
space and for inviting me. This has been
You're
lovely.
welcome. You're welcome, Kat. Thank you. And guys, thank you for listening. And we will catch you on the next episode. All in case you're driving or in case you're working right now and you're listening to this, all of her contact information will be in the show notes. So you can find Kat or find the NSBA and connect. And I hope you guys have a great week and we will see you later. Bye, guys.